Good evening and welcome to the LaRouche Organization Weekly Battle Report. Today is Wednesday, September 10th. I'm Michelle Aaron, your host. Happy birthday week to Lyndon LaRouche, who would be 103 years old this past Monday, September 8th. In honor of his birthday, his life, his work, let us work harder to fulfill the mission for a better world for humankind. We begin. The world has just seen a new military adventure by Israel, an airstrike on Doha, Qatar, targeting senior Hamas political leaders in a residential area. This latest attack adds to the importance of the United Nations General Assembly, convened just yesterday at the UN headquarters in New York City, that under UN Resolution 377, the United Nations can override vetoes from the UN Security Council, call an emergency general session, and take action to stop the Israeli-run genocide being waged now in Gaza. The LaRouche movement is circulating and echoing this solution idea in a new leaflet titled, "Take Concrete Action Toward a New Era." The leaflet details 6 concrete actions proposed by Professor Jeffrey Sachs in a September 6th Consortium news article, suggestions for leaders, organizations, and representatives to intervene to end the genocide. Importantly, the LaRouche leaflet includes links and QR codes to the LaRouche Oasis Plan for global economic development. Everyone watching is encouraged to print out this leaflet and hand it out. You may also circulate it online. We will include a link to the leaflet in our video description. The developments in Israel, Gaza, and the broader Middle East come in the context of a profound paradigm shift in the world that was strongly consolidated and amplified just a week and a half ago with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Tianjin Summit. Only a successful shift into the new paradigm that was demonstrated there, with 3/4 of the world's population already moving, joined by the nations of the West, will be the context for solving the problems of war, genocide, and hunger. Tonight's report shows that the LaRouche movement organized towards this shift this past week all around the world. First, we will watch a few reports where organizers went out into the public, on the streets, talking to real people face to face in New York City, Germany, Mexico, France, and we participated in a very prominent conference in Turkey. Then we will see a couple of examples of LaRouche interviews, articles, and a new Schiller Institute petition that are in independent media of Spain, Sweden, and Mexico. So first, Diane Sare, president of the LaRouche Organization, reports from New York City last Saturday, where she and a team were organizing at the New York City Labor Day Parade. We were talking to people there about the inevitable collapse of the Western economic system, that crypto, stablecoins are not going to solve it, and that what you have to do is what LaRouche is calling for. With the economic recovery proposal, and you'll see her showing people the new pamphlet. And we were pointing out that the Alaska summit a couple of weeks ago between Trump and Putin set a certain potential for this process, including the development of the Bering Strait.
I'm at the New York City Labor Day Parade. This beautiful atom sign behind me is the Pipefitters Union, they're very big on nuclear power, but there are lots of unions here, Teamsters you can see. What I'm discussing with people is the fact that the U.S. economy is headed for a major crash. You cannot just print money, raise the interest rates, lower the interest rates, go with crypto. It is not going to work. We need to nationalize the Federal Reserve, reinstate Glass-Steagall, and invest trillions of dollars in those things which actually contribute to the productivity of the workforce. Nuclear power, high-speed rail, water management, health care. Americans want this. We're getting a phenomenal response here, and I'm telling people we got to prepare for the crash with the program and the policy before it hits.
Thank you, Diane. If anyone watching needs some beautiful hard copies of the Economic Recovery pamphlet, get in touch with us at info@LaRoucheOrganization.com. We now have a report from Nürnberg, Germany, where the LaRouche Movement's Werner Zuse was invited to speak last weekend at a rally titled Day of Freedom. This rally was largely organized by the Munich Rise Up political groupings, and the Schiller Institute. Werner and others were invited there to provide a positive alternative to NATO war policy.
Werner Zuse from Nürnberg. Today there was a festivity here in Nürnberg. The theme was Day of Freedom in the Search of Truth. The Schiller Institute was invited to present our view about a positive future for humanity. And I could especially tell the people that a week ago there was a meeting of the Shanghai Organization of Cooperation in Tianjin in China, where now a lot of countries, and together with the BRICS are 38 countries, and 8 of these countries are as well member in BRICS and in the Shanghai Organization of Cooperation, which are 75% of the human population collaborate. And this is the alternative, and this I could present, but also that this idea was already proposed by LaRouche when he made his proposal that we need an alliance of United States, India, China and Russia to stop British geopolitics. This is now possible, and I could especially tell the people that now at the meeting in Alaska of Trump and Putin, the idea of building a tunnel under the Bering Straits was discussed. So things are changing, and people here have to become optimistic.
Now we have a report from Mexico, where Fabiola Ramirez has a report on a deployment they did to the Politecnico University just yesterday, where they spoke to students about the BRICS process, how Mexico could be a part of it, and handed out literature you'll see from Fabiola.
Hello, morning. This is Fabiola Ramirez from the LaRouche organization. We came to the Politecnico University in order to continue the campaign of bringing LaRouche to the university, to the campuses. Today we gave the Oasis Plan leaflets to the students, and also we gave briefings on the bullhorn, and we brought this banner that is explaining the BRICS and their importance and influence in the world. The students also listened very attentively what we had to say against cryptocurrencies. We'll keep you updated of this campaign of bringing LaRouche to the universities in next videos. Ciao, ciao.
And you see in this photo, students seated reading the Oasis Plan leaflet. Thank you, Fabiola. Now, quickly to Paris, a photo of Shireen and another organizer. They were out with the LaRouche party there, Solidarité et Progrès, at Place du Châtelet, where unions were mobilizing, and we were out there getting out, I believe, also Oasis Plan literature to the crowd there. Now to Turkey. Stefan Ossenkopf from the LaRouche Movement in Germany, where he has run for office, was invited to speak at a Palestine conference on September 9th in Istanbul, Turkey, representing the Schiller Institute. This conference was titled From the Genocide to the Construction of the State of Palestine. And this conference brought together speakers and participants from countries that included Turkey, Palestine, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Russia, Germany, and the United Kingdom. The conference was organized by the Palestine Dialogue Group and the Turkish news agency Harici. The Palestinian representatives who co-organized the event either come from Gaza or live in exile, and they see themselves as a moderate group whose intention is to organize international solidarity and to generate pressure from the international community. The main focus of the event was on creating unity and a strong, unified Palestinian voice in the run-up to what began yesterday, the United Nations meetings on a two-state solution. So a brief excerpt from Ossenkopf's remarks at the conference, and which were circulated in a tweet by the Turkish news agency Harici, that identified him as a researcher with the Schiller Institute. He was quoted saying, "The transition from a Western-dominated unipolar world order to a new multipolar order centered on BRICS and Asia offers the chance for a just solution in Palestine." So he certainly had longer remarks than that, but that was a little excerpt. Agencies that covered the conference include Sol Haber, which has almost 1 million followers on X, Birgun Gazetsi with 2 million followers on X, and the website of Haberturk, a major private broadcaster with 4.9 million followers on X. Now, this week, the Schiller Institute has released a new petition titled, "The Nations of the West Must Cooperate with the New Economic Order." The petition includes the following: "The world has reached an absolute turning point. We can either continue the geopolitical confrontation against Russia and China, risking a third and this time final world war, or we can choose to cooperate with this latter emerging new economic system." So to put your support behind the latter proposal, that we cooperate with the new system, you may sign the petition on the Schiller Institute website. You may also circulate this petition to your networks to sign as well. It's good to have more voices of support. So this petition has already found support in Mexico. It was posted in Spanish translation, by Celeste Sáenz, the Secretary General of the Mexico Journalists Club, on her X account, with a link to the full article, and did this in the publication of the Journalists Club Voces del Periodista. This Journalists Club honored Mrs. Helga Zepp LaRouche in 2022 with their International Freedom of Expression Award, and in 2025 recognized Dennis Small for his work for world peace and with the Schiller Institute and EIR. So again, they are posting and circulating this latest petition. Now, a couple of LaRouche interviews in the media. In Spain, last Thursday, September 4th, Spain's retired Colonel Pedro Baños interviewed the LaRouche Movement's Dennis Small on his YouTube channel. This is a widely viewed program, El Canal del Coronel, and the interview gave Dennis an hour and 45 minutes, so almost 2 hours, to present in depth what the LaRouche Movement, with EIR, Schiller Institute, the International Peace Coalition, what the LaRouche Movement has set out to do over the past 50 years, and what it's doing now in the midst of the tectonic shifts that are underway, as seen in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and related developments. Baños titled the show, "The United States Lashes Out Like a Wounded Beast." Now, Dennis, at one point during the program, pointed out that a more accurate title would have been "Wall Street Lashes Out Like a Wounded Beast." As Dennis pointed out, there's a distinction between British financial interests and the American system of physical economy. Small, in the interview, also discussed the global breakdown crisis and the solutions proposed for decades by Lyndon and Helga LaRouche, laying out in detail the philosophical basis for these proposals, including the example of the Treaty of Westphalia. So this interview, this almost 2 hour long interview, has now 58,000 views. And at least a half a dozen people commented in the YouTube comments, "Por fin," finally. You interviewed someone from LaRouche. Now also in the news media in Sweden, this week the blog News Voice published an opinion article by Ulf Sandmark, the chairman of the Schiller Institute in Sweden. By chance, this article was published on Monday, Lyndon LaRouche's birthday. The article with the headline, "The New World Order is Here," covers the breakthrough with the SCO meeting in Beijing and the role of the LaRouche movement in creating this paradigmatic shift. We'll read a little bit. It was a nice article. Let's read a little bit. Ulf wrote, "A new world order is what I and the LaRouche movement have been working for in Sweden and internationally for more than 50 years, starting with the first party program for the European Labor Party in 1971 and continuing with the founding of the Schiller Institute in 1984. Lyndon LaRouche worked systematically to reach out to leading groups in the major nations that together would have sufficient power to put an end to the completely dominant globalist policies of colonialism and domination by multinational corporations and banks. He believed that the United States, Russia, China, and India together had that potential. The first letters of the names of Russia, India, and China now stand at the center of the acronym BRICS. With the meeting with Russia in Alaska, the United States has opened a reorientation away from the Atlantic to the Pacific and Indian Oceans to these very countries." So we include a link to the full article by Ulf in the video description. So tonight, what did we see? We saw activity in just the past week of the international LaRouche movement in the United States, Germany, Turkey, Mexico, Sweden, France, and Spain. Perhaps most importantly, at the beginning of the program, we shared with you the new leaflet, "Take Concrete Action Toward a New Era," which you can circulate to help. One final plug, this week's edition of the Executive Intelligence Review magazine, the weekly magazine, will include full coverage of the September 3rd SCO Summit in Tianjin. This is the background that you need to know what's happening in the new paradigm for mankind. As always, you can subscribe to the weekly EIR Journal and to the EIR Daily Alert directly at eir.news. Or this subscription is included with a sustaining membership to the LaRouche organization. So take the leaflet, organize, do other deployments, get out there and record a video. Send in an on-the-ground report from where you're getting out there, talking to people, organizing. We'd love to hear from you. You can send those in to info@laroucheorganization.com, and we'll see you